New research for the Tyrannosaurus shows it had lips similar to lizards and snakes. When studying the jaw edges, lines of small holes and ridge-like structures are parallel to the teeth along the side of the face and lower jaw. These would be muscle attachments for lips, which would make sense to keep their gums moist and protect their teeth from drying and its enamel becoming degraded. When scientists compared both the crocodile and T.rex teeth together, they found that the dinosaur's tooth enamel lacked significant wear and not as degraded as the croc's. In a study on the Rex's inner ear, they found that it had a single ossicle. Ossicles are tiny bones that transmit sound from the ear bone. Birds and reptiles also have a single ossicle, which indicates it had low-frequency hearing, just like birds and reptiles. This discovery means a lot to scientists because it brings new insight on how the king of the dinosaurs lived. With the low-frequency hearing, it would mean that the T-Rex never roared with a loud, deafening bellow, but growled. I recently had someone ask me why the T-Rex is getting bulkier when I made a post saying I was going to do a video on the Rex. This is a valid question. What I went over a minute ago answers most of it. We didn't add the fat and some loose skin. And let's not forget the belly ribs called gastralia. The gastralia are rib-like bones which don't articulate with the vertebrae and ribs, which provided support for its abdomen and helped with respiration. T-Rex gastralia have been discovered in 1990 when Sue, the famous specimen, was found. But scientists didn't know what it was for. They knew it was a part of the dinosaur, but were unsure where it fit with the skeleton, until 2018 came. In 2018, scientists recognized and understood what they were for, and updated the skeleton. With this new insight on its physiology, we now have a more accurate body mass estimation and how it looked. So instead of a slender T-Rex, it is a barrel-chested, bulky beast. Another interesting thing about T-Rex is how it grew up from a hatchling to a giant 16-foot-tall creature. Scientists have dug up many specimens ranging in age, giving us a very good idea on its development. Until recently, we believed that T-Rex grew up rapidly until it reached adulthood. But now, with new research from early 2026, 17 specimens ranging from juveniles to adults were examined. Using new and updated methods, bone splices were examined microscopically using a specialized lighting technique and were able to detect previously overlooked growth rings. With this new insight on its growth, it gives us a better view on how it can affect its life ecologically. Before 2026, we believed that the Rex grew fast, and as it grew, it had to grow rapidly in order to survive. But now we realize that since it slowly grew, it may have played important various ecological roles growing up. During its slow and steady growth for around 40 years, it allowed young T-Rexes to occupy each role for a longer period than we expected. The animals it coexisted with were the Parasaurolophus, Hadrosaurs, Edmontosaurus, Triceratops, other ceratopsians, Ankylosaurus, and other ankylosaurids. There is also a Pachycephalosaurus, ornithomimids, smaller predators, omnivores such as Archaeoraptor, Pectinodon, Dakotaraptor, and Anzu. The primary food source was Edmontosaurs and Triceratops, and when younger, they would hunt smaller prey or young prey. But life wasn't easy for the T.rex. Living alongside it was another tyrannosaur, not as big, but was also an apex predator, Nanotyrannus. As a youngster, they would have to avoid the Nanotyrannus or get eaten. T-rex, after hatching, would have to learn to live in a dangerous world full of peril, and the best chance to do that is living in packs. As I mentioned earlier, T-rex used to be thought of as solitary creatures. Now we know, based off of fossilized remains found in 2014 in the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, Utah, a site called Rainbows and Unicorns Quarry, a mass grave of Teratophonius. Teratophonius is a close relative of Tyrannosaurus rex, and the mass grave produced one adult, one subadult, and 2 or 3 juveniles. Could this be a coincidence that they were buried at the same spot and died at different times? To see if they died together and were not thrown together by chance, a team studied and analyzed the fossils. What they found was the similarity of rare earth element patterns, suggesting that these organisms were fossilized together and drowned in a flood that washed them into a lake. We also have fossilized trackways of Tyrannosaurus in Alberta, Canada, which reinforces the fact that they had complex social pack behavior. The trackways are found at Tyrant's Isle near Grand Prairie at the Red Willow River. There's also hadrosaur tracks, troodontids, possibly, pterosaurs, and possible ornithomimids. The climate it lived in was generally warmer than today, which was forested with lush plant life and low tropical floodplains like Louisiana today. This environment that it lived in was great for it and other species to flourish.